What was once just a spark is now a flame, a force sweeping the globe. We're the innovators, the artists, the mentors, the scientists. We're standing up and speaking out. In the schools, in the streets, and online. Girls in tech are cracking the code. We're shattering the ceiling, creating the innovative solutions of tomorrow. To connect, to organize, to be heard, to be the change. With the Girls Empowerment Initiative, we're boosting our digital skills to reach our full potential. We're designing apps to break taboos. We're harnessing AI to end violence. And we're bridging the digital divide. We're lifting each other up and making each other stronger, empowering ourselves and engaging others. There's 600 million adolescent girls in the world. Imagine what we can do with the right technology. These are our tools. This is our time. Join us.
everybody, and happy International Day of the Girl. Hello, Alex.
Hi everyone, and hi Ate Shama. Happy International Day of the Girl. It's a great day. Ate, how do you celebrate International Day of the Girl?
Thank you for that question, Alex. I celebrate the International Day of the Girl by actually reading more books about girls and about women. And I think I just really like, nourishing myself with knowledge, but also nourishing myself with other women, surrounding myself with other women around me. How about you, Alex? How do you celebrate International Day of the Girl?
Right, I loved your answer, Ate. You are such a role model to me, and I should ask you for your book recommendations one of these days. It's Monday, so it's another school day for me, but I will be attending my classes in pink. A girly color, my favorite color. So, that's my way of celebrating today's International Day of the Girl. And of course, hosting and being excited to be here for Girls Congress 2.0, the opening program.
Of course. I'm also very excited for this, Alex. And of course, the Girls Congress opening program, this program launch is not possible without the support of our sponsors and our
Right.
partners. Alex.
Right. The United States Embassy in the Philippines. Of course, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Miss Pauline Anderson, the Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer of the U.S. Embassy.
Of course, the global empowerment movement, Girl Make the First Move.
We'd also like to acknowledge Wesleyan University of the Philippines,
And together with our community partners, the Department of Education,
the Philippine Commission on Women,
Belle de Jour Power Planner,
Quarantalk Media,
our media partner, Business World,
Business and Professional Women International,
and last but of course not the least, Philippine Federation of Local Councils of Women. Thank you so much to all of our partners.
Right. So to welcome us, everyone, we have with us today the CDA ad interim of the United States Embassy in the Philippines, Heather Varyava.
Yes, CDA Variava has been a member of the U.S. Foreign Service since 1996 and steered the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia and its consulates through the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic. She has also been posted in other parts of South Asia, Mauritius, and Vietnam. CDA Variava completed a fellowship in executive leadership with the International Women's Forum and earned a master's degree in national security strategy from the National War College in Washington, D.C., and also has degrees in journalism and international relations. Thank you so much for joining us, CDA Variava. This is, of course, to be followed by a message of support from the Honorable Leonor Briones, Secretary of the Department of Education.
Right. Honorable Leonor Briones is of the University of the Philippines National College of Public Administration and Governance, has spent most of her life as a teacher. She has taught young children in church, school, and students in undergraduate, master's, and doctoral studies. Whenever and wherever she delivers a public lecture, she teaches. She has been a resource person in numerous national, regional, and international meetings and fora. She addressed the General Assembly of the United Nations in 2005, and she combines the roles of distinguished academic and teacher, public official, and social activist. Thank you so much for joining us today. This will be followed by another message of support by Evernice Munando, laureate of the UNESCO Prize for Girls and Women's Education, founder of the Female Students Network Trust, all the way from Zimbabwe.
Yes, Evernice is the founder and the current executive director of FSNT, which advocates for the rights of female students in tertiary institutions. Her organization actually won an inaugural UNESCO award for advancing girls and women's education in 2016, and secondly, as the outstanding civil society organization human rights defender in 2015, respectively. Thank you so much for all your messages of support. Let's hear it from them.
Good morning. What an awesome occasion to be here with you to celebrate International Day of the Girl at the start of Girls Congress 2.0. First things first, allow me a moment to greet Wesleyan University President Judge Benjamin Tugano, IVLP alumna Dr. Jenny Lind Elmaco, Nina Tarol, Evernice Munando, and the dedicated women behind Girls Congress 2.0, Girl, Make the First Move. Thank you all for your dynamic partnership, which has made this innovative event possible. I would also like to acknowledge UN Director for Program, Policy, and Intergenerational Division, Sarah Hendricks, and Philippine Education Secretary Leonor Briones. Thank you for your encouragement and advocacy. Most of all, I want to credit all of the emerging women leaders here today who are joining Girls Congress 2.0 with open minds and hearts. Your commitment to being your best shines bright. You are all powerful voices highlighting the central role that young women have played through history, one that continues today and will be part of the future. On behalf of the U.S. Embassy, it is an honor to support you. The International Day of the Girl focuses on the need to address the specific challenges girls face and to promote girls' empowerment and the fulfillment of their human rights. Girls, it is so inspiring to have as role models the brave, fearless, and forward-looking women speaking here today. I encourage you to look to them and ask about their experiences as you think about how you want to approach the challenges in your life. Using the tools and practices you will encounter through Girls Congress 2.0, I believe you have the talent and energy to transform yourselves, develop skills, and create opportunities to lead empowered lives. Working together, you will develop and expand your community of empowerment, developing the trusted friendships and networks that women have relied on for support and camaraderie through generations. Despite persistent obstacles, women lead the way every day in the Philippines and across the world. Over the past year, women have played a critical, often outsized role in responding to the global coronavirus pandemic. Women are our vaccine researchers and public health officials. They are our doctors and nurses. They are our essential workers in law enforcement, nursing homes, in schools, and in shelters. Advancing the rights of women and girls worldwide is a priority for the United States. We are committed to honoring women by investing in their prospects, security, and well-being. In March, President Biden signed an executive order for the establishment of a Gender Policy Council. The council is mandated to advance equal rights and opportunities regardless of gender or gender identity in domestic and foreign policy. The order advances gender equity and directs the government to treat individuals who suffer discrimination with sensitivity and respect. This historic initiative promotes the full participation of all people, including women and girls, in politics, economics, indeed all aspects of society. This is essential to the economic well-being, health, and security of our country and the world. This participation includes Vice President Kamala Harris, our first woman vice president, who broke through barriers that have stood for more than 2 centuries in the United States. It includes the record number of the diverse women President Biden has nominated to serve in cabinet-level roles and appointed to senior-level positions. And it includes me as Chief of Mission of the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines. Elevating the status of women and girls globally will lead to a better, more secure, and more prosperous world for all of us. The world is at its best when the possibilities for women and girls are limitless. Maraming salamat and happy International Day of the Girl.
Good day to all advocates of encouraging girls to make decisions for themselves and to continue their studies, the learning process, so they can be useful and active members of our Philippine society. I want to congratulate the organizers of Girls Make the First Move, which is sponsored by the Embassy of the United States right here in the Philippines. I want to give my special greetings to Jenny Linda Elmaco, who is from Silliman University, like myself. And I'm very happy to note that you have progressed in your career and your advocacy since your student days. Remember the times we used to talk a lot with other members of the student council on student issues, and now you're active in girls' issues. I also want to congratulate the Embassy of the United States for sponsoring this activity, as well as our partners, Wesleyan University of the Philippines, which is a sister institution of of Silliman, of our own Silliman University. I understand that your rallying cry is that girls should make the first move. I hope that next time you have a similar activity, you also invite the parents of girls, because in our society, parents have a very large and a very important role in determining the directions to which children, especially girls, go. I would also like to suggest that we can hold these activities, webinars, discussions, congresses in regions in the Philippines, for example, where the issue of the lives of girls are frequently discussed and also talked about, and are part of the cultural practices in our society. Wesleyan University is a very liberal university, like Silliman, like our state universities. But there are also places where perhaps girls should be encouraged to, as you said, make the first move. But along with the girls themselves, we have to encourage the parents and communities to make the first move or support the first move of these girls, because by themselves they cannot, they would have challenges taking these first moves. We are encouraged by the many examples of girls who have taken such first moves, and we get inspiration from them. It would be wonderful if we have a collection of stories of inspiration of how girls make the first moves. I recall that as a teacher, as a professor in the University of the Philippines, I had a very bright girl student. Because as far as I'm concerned, as a grandmother, all girls are girls, whether at university level or even at elementary and high school level. And she was urged to go into, to start her life in an arranged marriage, and she steadfastly refused and continued with her studies. And now she is a lawyer. She went abroad to another country as a scholar for her master's degree. She chose her life partner herself, and she's a member of their local legislature, and is very, very active in promoting and encouraging girls to make the first move. On the other hand, her younger sister was persuaded to marry at a very early age to someone she met for the first time during her wedding. And so she was not able to proceed with her ambitions. In contrast to her sister, who was able to finish her studies in law, to go abroad for her master's degree, to select her lifetime partner of her choice, and make a career for herself. And these are very inspiring example I had an occasion also to visit before I was Secretary of Education, to visit a school, and I noticed that as we move from one grade to another, from grade one, maybe a large number of pupils, and after each grade, by second grade, third grade, up to sixth grade, the classes were becoming smaller and smaller until there were less than 10 for grade 6. And I asked the teacher, why is this so? The classes are becoming smaller as you go up higher in the rungs of elementary education. And the teacher said this is because girls move on to marriage and become mothers themselves and take care of their families, and so they stop schooling. And she mentioned a very, very bright young girl whose first move was not so much moving on to high school or even to college, but to the life of a mother and a housekeeper. And the teacher was weeping as she told me that story. So I hope that beyond congresses, beyond webinars, beyond talking to young girls, we also have to deal with communities. We have to focus on practices in areas where the girls need to be encouraged to make their first moves. Not only the girls themselves, but also their parents and their communities. So I hope that as we say and we hold congresses of girls, make the first move, make the first move, we have to reach out to their communities as well. We have to prepare materials. We have to tell stories of inspiration and encouragement so that we will take more steps beyond congresses, beyond talking to the girls, but also meeting with families, with communities, with preparing and telling, sharing stories that are inspiring. And so on this day of Girls Congress, I hope there are parents with you. I hope that there are teachers with you. I hope that there are community leaders with you. Because to make a girl take the first step, she needs the support of her parents, the support of her community, the encouragement of her teachers, and of course, your group urging them along. So, congratulations on your beginning, because I consider this Congress as the beginning to and the journey to more success. And as I said, let us reach out, let us go to places where girls face all these kinds of challenges. Once more, thank you, congratulations, Jenny Lind, for spearheading this project. Congratulations to Wesleyan University. I'm very sure that you are encouraging the girls. In Silliman, I suspect there are more girls than boys. It's the same in the University of the Philippines, more girls than boys. But there are places where there are increasingly lesser and lesser girls. And this is where your girls have to make the first move. And this is where I challenge you to go to visit and to do your work. Congratulations. God bless each and every one of you. We are all loved, whether girl or boy, mother, father, or community. Thank you.
We are joining hands with the entire world in commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child, and as the Female Students Network Trust in Zimbabwe, we are very pleased to participate in this platform. And I think this theme of this year is very clear in saying we are going to celebrate the digital generation, which is our generation, and it's quite relevant to the context considering the COVID-19 pandemic. And as the Female Students Network Trust, our niche or our work is premised around advocating for the girls' rights and for equal participation in leadership, guided by the Constitution of Zimbabwe. We look at Section 17 of our Constitution. It speaks about the equal participation of girls and women in public spheres and also private spheres. And this, it also means that girls should participate in leadership and decision-making process. I think the problems that we need to address here in Zimbabwe are around is the sexual exploitation and sexual abuse of these young girls, especially when we look at our laws to join hands together as a globe, because what I've discovered is that through our advocacy work, girls and women's issues are global issues. Hence, we need to collaborate, work together, network, and be able to support the girl child so that at least we build agents and masses of girls and women that will advocate and champion their rights and also be able to influence the betterment of the world and also in our nations. In our context, I think it's very important to engage the traditional leaders, the religious leaders, the faith-based leaders, and also the policymakers, so that there's a holistic approach in terms of addressing the constitutional gaps and also the gaps that are there in the laws that seeks to safeguard the plight of women and girls in our country.
Thank you so much to all the messages of support from our esteemed guests. Alex, who's going to be coming up next?
Right. So up next, we have a great speaker, an ally for women, Honorable Benjamin D. Torgano, President of Wesleyan University of the Philippines. He is a retired jurist. WP President Benjamin was recognized and awarded by CHED for having the most comprehensive response of a private higher education institution to mitigate the effects of the pandemic in terms of institutional continuity, change agility, resiliency, wow, and innovation. It was also under his watch that WP aggressively expanded its international linkages and strategic partnerships with local universities and colleges. Dear friends, please give your virtual applause for their opening remarks.
Hello, Judge Ben.
Hello. Good morning. It gives me great pleasure to congratulate the 40 members who were chosen by the respective schools to participate in the 6-month-long Girls Congress 2.0. Thanks for the blessings of technology, because we have about 20 institutions represented from as far north as Lawag City in Ilocos Norte to Naga City, Camarines Sur in the south. We are grateful to the American Embassy in Manila for choosing Wesleyan University Philippines as its partner in supporting this project, the Girls Congress 2.0. We are honored by this partnership, and we hope that this would be the beginning of more collaborations in programs that would promote and further deepen the strong, special, and long-standing friendship between the United States of America and the Republic of the Philippines. Allow me to commend the American Embassy in Manila through the charge d'affaires, Ms. Heather Variava, as well as the organizing committee of Girls Congress 2.0, headed by Dr. Janeline Elmaco and Nina Terol, which is the second to be held in our country, for the initiative to hold this noble and lofty project of leadership training and capacity building for girls. We also thank the speakers, facilitators who will be taking part in the Congress, which includes no less than Her Excellency the Vice President of the United States of America. The panel discussants this morning also graciously gave their time, and all those who will be involved in the seminars and workshops. May God bless you for your contribution and support to make this project meaningful and inspiring. We are confident that the Girls' Congress shall open the minds and hearts of the young participants to the larger issues we face, not only in the context of our needs and hopes as a country and people, but more importantly on the common issues that affects humanity and the world today. And so we lift up this Congress in prayer and ask that God bless this project and make it a continuing initiative, that God may bless the participants, the organizers and supporters, so it shall provide a transforming experience for the participants, that they may discover their potentials and opportunities for engagement and action, that they can be effective leaders of their communities, that they have a voice, and that they can be heard as the enlightened and empowered young and future women leaders, especially on matters that strikes at the heart of their sense of dignity and self-worth. In this manner, they shall be vital contributors in the shaping of a sustainable future for all of us. Thank you and good morning.
It's really great to see men also stepping up in our struggle for equality, men being feminists and men being allies. We're very thankful for you, Judge Ben. Today, we are also very fortunate to have the support of the Philippine Commission on Women, the Philippine government's primary policy making and coordinating body on women's empowerment and gender equality, through Chairwoman Sandy Sanchez Montaño. Thank you, Chair Sandy. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. The floor is yours. Hello, Chair Sandy.
In the meantime, let me just read her great accomplishments. Well, Chair Sandy, for our audience who does not know, is a registered nurse by profession. She is currently the president and CEO of Community Health Education Emergency Rescue Services Corporation, which provides training on emergency medical services conforming to the international standards on health and safety. Right. She's not just a feminist, but she's also an advocate for all these other things. Her awards and contributions are highly regarded both in the local and international area. Super exciting to hear from her. It looks like she'll be speaking to us in a while.
Chair Sandy, are you ready? If not, yes, let's go ahead and maybe read some comments first while Chair Sandy is getting ready. Janice Javier says, "Good morning, watching from Palahana National High School, San Juan, Batangas." Hello, everybody who's on Facebook right now. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to also send it to us through the comments. We will be reading that in the panel later. Cheryl Gordo
Right. We
Bulalakaw
also
is
have
coming
Cheryl
Go ahead.
from Bioduran Albay. Hi, Cheryl. Good morning. Happy International Day of the Girl.
Hello.
Hi.
Chair Sandy, are you ready na po? Okay, let's I think we can keep reading comments from Facebook. Happy International Day of the Girl. Hoping to be a delegate of next year's Girls Congress, from Cheska Asilo Paderes. Thank you so much, Cheska. Of course, everybody who is not accepted for Girls Congress in the workshops, you can always tune in to Girls Congress. The panels that we're going to be holding and we're going to be hosting is also going to be live on the Facebook page. So if you want to keep following the conversations that we have on Girls Congress, just follow the page and follow the videos and the lives that we're going to be creating. Thank you, Cheska.
Right. We also have a message here from Jade, watching from Hipolito Sakilaya National High School, Alapan 2A, Imo City, Cavite. Hello, Jade. Hi.
I'm very happy that everybody is from different areas
Right.
in the Philippines. Now, Girls Congress actually started in Dumaguete, and Ate Jen will talk about that a little bit later. I don't want for her to for me to like go get ahead of her, but thank you so much everybody for tuning in. Shane Ashley Amparo says, "Good morning, everyone. Happy International Day of the Girl." Chair Sandy, just checking in here. Chair Sandy, are you okay na po?
Well, we have another message in the meantime from Cell. Good morning, everyone watching from Sorayan Elementary School. Wow, elementary. We love our elementary audience. Thank you so much for joining us. What a great way to celebrate International Day of the Girl
That's
from
all
Davao
right.
City.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. So right now, Alex, I think if maybe you can introduce to us the next speaker.
Right, right. I would love to add that. Right. So our next speaker is Dr. Jenny Lind Elmaco, PhD, our Congress director, and she received the Fulbright program Hayes grant for this project in gender equality, women and girls empowerment. She is also a Marie Curie Social Impact Awardee, the regional coordinator of URAX's VP for APAC, Global Women Inventors and Innovators Network, board director, Association of Young and Environmental Journalists, and in the UN Committee of BPW International, and a top 100, wow, top 100, everyone, influential Filipino women on LinkedIn. Ate Jen, can we hear from you? There we go. Hi, Ate Jen.
Hello, Ate Jen. Are you there? Yes, we can see you. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think my connection is happy International Day of the Girl. So to all our distinguished guests, to our partners, to the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines, Shasha Fair Heather Variaba, Ms. Pauline Anderson, Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer of the U.S. Embassy, to Secretary Liling Briones of DepEd, thank you so much for that heartwarming message. Chair Sandy Montano of the Philippine Commission on Women, thank you so much for joining us. Judge Ben Torgano of Wesleyan, my sister Evernice Monando, to all of the girls joining us today. Can you feel the power? Because around us, despite this virtual plane, there is an abundance of it: power, potential, and possibilities. So, what a wonderful day for girls to take their first moves, to step up, to share, to speak out, to fight back, and to lead. So today we hope that by doing this project, by listening to all the incredible women who have excelled in their respective fields, by giving the necessary skills, girls here in the Philippines will be encouraged to not only to dream, but to take action, to carve their own path, to reach their fullest potentials. Because we know you can. And given the right tools, the encouragement, you can do great things for yourself, for this country, and for our world. And we will not be here today without an incredible team of volunteers who I would name one by one if not for the time constraints. But you know who you are. Thank you so, so much. This project started as an IVLP YC partnership between me and Shama Bulangis, who is moderating today. Thank you so much, Shama, and with Alex as well. Thank you to the first batch of Girls Congress ambassadors who will be your youth mentors this time. And this year, I am ecstatic that my soul sister, Nina Terol, founder of Girl Make the First Move, joined us for this very special program just for you girls, taking your first moves in the different aspects of your lives. Thank you so much, Nines. To you girls, your presence today gives us what we have been lacking of late because of the pandemic, and that is hope. And hope is a fascinating thing. It is infectious. It is the kind of virus that connects, that nurtures, that loves, that transforms. Thank you for answering the call. To quote VP Kamala Harris, dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before. But know that we will applaud you the way. And coming from me, Be confident, be brave, find your voice, and use it for yourself and for others. Break the barriers, build bridges, and make the world better. We will be there too, cheering you on as others have before us. So dream, believe in your dreams, create, and become. Welcome to Girls 2.0. Happy International Day of the Girl.
Thank you so much for that, Ate Jen. That was very, very beautiful. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to be super quick here. Up next is the founder of Girl Make the First Move, Ate Nina Terol or Ate Nines. Ate Nines is the founder of Girl Make the First Move, as I've mentioned, and a global empowerment platform for girls and women. Medyo tongue twister. She's also a prolific public speaker and a published author, a startup mentor, and a content creator. She has worked with the United Nations, the World Bank, USAID, the Asian Development Bank, CNN Travel, and Rappler, among others. At work, she is the Chief Marketing Officer of Talino Venture Labs, a global venture studio for inclusive fintechnology. At the Nines, how are you today?
Hi, everybody. Good morning from the Philippines and happy International Day of the Girl. So it's an amazing way to start the day. And thank you also, the speakers before me have shared some very inspiring points. So I'll keep it short, but I just wanted to share a bit of the background of Girl Make the First Move. I started this movement just in May this year. And before I started it, when you would Google the words Girl Make First Move, the only content that you would see is about girls and dating. As if it's the only first moves we can make. Of course, we can make first moves in dating and relationships, but is that the only thing, we can take as a first move? Should the conversation be constrained to just that? So I take it as a challenge that we should expand the narrative of girls and women making first moves in different areas. And I'm so thrilled to have with us today an amazing panel of women and girls that show that it is possible. So I would like to acknowledge our panel, Janice, another dear friend, for making first moves that enabled entire industries to take better care of the planet. Marielle, for proving that you can make first moves in many areas at a very young age. Jonah, for making first moves towards taking better care of ourselves. For Sophie, joining us from another part of the world as well, for raising awareness on abuse and harassment in your corner of the world that hopefully can inspire more of us here as well. And Doris, for being a beacon of truth amid our environment of fake news. And of course, Jen, our partners, Shama and Alex, you're all great examples of how we can change the world when women and girls make the first move. Because in truth, when we empower women and girls to make first moves and the right moves in the different areas of our lives, everybody wins. So this is just the beginning of our global empowerment movement. We enjoin more women and girls, and of course men and our allies, other institutions and brands to support us in empowering more women and girls to make not just the first moves, but also the right moves for this generation and the future generations. So thank you very much, everybody, and I can't wait for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ate Nines. That's really, really great, no? Making the first move and redefining what the first move means. I think that's beautiful. Alex, maybe you can cue our next speaker.
Right. Thank you again at the Nines. This is just a short reminder to our viewers. You can be part of the discussion too. Don't forget to send your questions via the Facebook Live comments, where we'll be selecting one for all our speakers to answer. Just to clarify, Ate, will it be Chair Sandy speaking next?
I think Chair Sandy is ready now. Chair Sandy?
There we go. Again, everyone. Oh, all right.
Hello,
Hi,
Chair
good
Sandy.
morning.
Good
Floor is yours.
morning, Chair Sandy.
Hi, good morning. Okay. Yeah. Happy Monday to every one of you. Apology of one technical difficulty, and at the same time, there's a lot of meetings happening right now. So before anything else, I would like to thank our partners, especially, of course, Ms. Jenny Lind, Zero. Okay. So first and foremost,
I think we're
thank you for
having
celebrating Day of the Girl, and we are so happy as the primary. Can you hear me?
yes, but we can hear
As a
you.
primary policy making and coordinating body in
I think I think Chair Sandy is having a few technical problems right now. Maybe we can move on with our panel, and then Chair Sandy can come in after the panel, no, Alex? So
Right.
let me just introduce no our first panelist for today, Miss Janice Lau. Janice is an internationally multi awarded environmental scientist and economist working with businesses so they can be a force for good in the world and for the world. She graduated from the University of Oxford under a full academic scholarship. That's super amazing. And just recently co launched her first book about climate change with her young daughter, Esther. That's really girl make the first move. Girl, make your first book.
Mm-hmm.
So much for being here, Janice. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear you.
perfectly.
Thank you. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. I am in Texas. Minsan lang po ako nagtatagalog. Mayong buntag sa tanan.
Maayong buntag.
Mayong buntag. I wanted just to say, just to share my quick speech. And I'm supposed to talk about self leadership. And self leadership is really about mastery of self. It's about knowing yourself so well that no one else knows you better than yourself, and you will become your greatest advocate. Why do you need mastery of self? Because as Secretary Briones even said, the culture of the Philippines is such that they say to girls, babae ka lang, wag mong gagawin yan. Nakakalalaki ka. Wag mong gagawin yun. No. Things like I don't want girls to think that way. I want them to think that when they hear the word no and when they're told they can't do something, that they don't hear the word no. They hear yes, but just not now. Or maybe. And they also hear another voice in their head saying, watch me. And so that's what I've been doing all my life. And this is how I managed to get my Oxford degree and every other achievement I've made in my life is because when I hear other people give me criticism and the haters and the naysayers tell me that I can't do something, I use that as a challenge. So my friends know, Jen and Nines know that even my husband knows that when you give matakot ka when you give me a challenge because I will prove you wrong. And that comes from self-leadership and mastery. And how do you do that? Through mindfulness, meditation, and yes, weightlifting. I have been weightlifting for 4 years and it has changed my life because it really helps you master your strengths and your weaknesses. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Ate Janice. I'm so excited to hear more from you later on. Next up, we have our next speaker, Ate Marielle. Right, Marielle is an no, not Ate. Apparently, Marielle is one of the youngest, I believe. Right, Ate Shama,
Yes.
of the panel today. Hi, Marielle. Marielle is an artist singer who has won international accolades in singing, including being a finalist at Europop 2020. A singer who has competed in different swim meets across the globe, a consistent honor student, scholar, and student leader. In 2019, at only 12 years old, Marielle became the youngest person ever to receive the Natatanging Anak ng Kabanatuan Award for all her achievements in singing and sports. Hi, Marielle. You are all over the place.
Hello everyone to the delegates and organizers of the Girls Congress 2.0. Happy International Day of the Girl. I am Mariel Charlize S. Montenegro. I represent a girl who has broken glass ceilings. It means at this young age, I have empowered girls to become leaders in their school where boys previously dominated. In terms of sports like swimming, there is a separate gender distinction for girls versus boys. And for the arts like singing, we have known the prowess of the Filipina voices. I was also termed the singing mermaid because of this. As a student, the major barriers to my challenges to excel in sports and arts are to know how to incorporate and balance these training programs with the busy academic schedule as well. But if you have the determination and willpower to succeed, you can do it. You have to strengthen your will to succeed, define your goal to shine to be great, create an image for others to emulate and be motivated, and to create your own schedule for these opportunities. Lastly, I always remember this biblical passage from Philippians chapter 4 verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And of course, I have the support of my parents who constantly help and cheer me as I achieve these goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marielle. Truly breaking glass ceilings everywhere at such a young age. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to all of us here. Up next is on our pillar for self love, and you've already met her a while ago. I'm gonna welcome back Ate Nina, who is the Congress co-director and founder of Girl Make First Move. Hello, Ate Nines. Welcome back.
Hello again. Actually, we were supposed to have Dr. Gia Season with us. Unfortunately, she had to attend to a medical emergency as doctors do. But you know, self-love is such an important pillar of Girl Make the First Move because you know, if we can make first moves in relationships and dating, wait a minute. I think we need to first make the first moves on loving ourselves. And that means so many things. Janice talked about self mastery. Marielle talked about breaking barriers, but I think the important thing is to really be able to take time to get to know ourselves. Also know that there are certain boundaries that we have to erect around ourselves. Protect those boundaries. Protect integrity and respect for women everywhere, starting with our own self-respect and compassion. Diba? And kindness to ourselves. There will be so many critics out there, and we know this. Diba? So the kindest person to ourselves should be our own selves, and we will delve into this into other panels and workshops. But for now, we really remind everybody that self-respect starts from here. So thank you to all the women for being examples of that as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ate. On the topic of self love, we didn't forget to spotlight positive body image, health, and wellness. We have Ate Jonna with us today. Ate Jonna is one of the founders of the International Youth Alliance for Family Planning in the Philippines. She was a girl advisor for the Girls to the Front for a Snapchat of girl organizing and is a research and junior fellow in youth investment, engagement, leadership, and development, and adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health and rights. She also building towards an informed investment strategy project advisory group. Hi, Ate Jonah.
Hi Alex, good morning, no? Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Super happy to be here, lalo na today, no? International Day of the Girl. And we're talking about girls making the first move when it comes to positive body image. For me, there's actually just no best advice about this. No, there's no one size fits all when it comes to body positivity because we experience differently, and I'm sure everyone in this room throughout our lives, there have been, multiple times that we are body shamed, especially living in quite a judgmental country, no? A country where least of our priorities is our bodies, especially for women. And what more for girls, no? A country where misogynist ideas perpetuates, in a country where we are still subscribing to this culture of silencing about our personhood, about our womanhood, and about our sexualities, no? It's better said than done, but the first move towards body positivity starts within the self, no? Kagaya ng nasabi ni Ate Nines, no? What I want to assert to the girls in the audience is that the first ally that you will be going to have is yourself. And as soon as we start letting girls and women claim their bodies as our own and um empower ourselves, no, to pursue what is best for our bodies, physically, even sexually and psychologically speaking, I think this is what true freedom is for girls. So yeah, very excited for our next discussions, and thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much, Jonah, for highlighting that. Now, that's a very important part of being a woman as well, understanding that we love ourselves and that we care for ourselves, and that should be rooted from us understanding that we need to have a positive body image towards ourselves, and of course we have to be kind to ourselves, especially that the world is telling us that we're always ugly, the world is telling us that we're not enough. We should be the ones, and maybe we should be our sisters to each other and tell each other that we are enough. Up next, a bit on the heavier side, my good friend Sophie is gonna be talking about our pillar on against violence against women and girls. Sophie is the founder of Chalkback and is a gender activist, a gender justice activist and street artist committed to combating gender-based violence through public art, digital media, and education. She created the popular initiative Cat Calls of NYC, which raises awareness about street harassment using colorful chalk art. Her work has inspired the international youth-led movement Chalkback, consisting 200 catcalls of sites spanning 6 continents run by young activists. If you have time, I'll go on Instagram, search catcalls of blank, and you will definitely see so many Instagram pages that are being run all over the world. Sophie, welcome here.
Thank you so much, Shama, and it's such an honor to be here with you all. It's been amazing listening to everyone's remarks so far. So in terms of abuse and violence, the first move that I made and the first move that so many girls are making right now is sharing their story. The most brave thing and the most impactful thing you can do when you're facing violence or abuse, or if someone else you know is facing violence and abuse, particularly when it's gender-based, is to speak about it. And that doesn't have to be with everyone. You could start with a friend, you could start with a family member, you could start by anonymously sharing something online. But by sharing your story and making that first move, you can really inspire others to talk about what they're facing too, and take down some of the cultural stigma and shame that comes from sharing personal stories of abuse and violence. So to everyone who's facing abuse and violence, particularly gender-based abuse, you're not alone. We see you, we're here for you, and we're building communities of solidarity all around the world so that you can continue speaking out about what you're facing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sophie. I love all of that. Communities of solidarity so that women can, speak up, so that there can be more safe spaces for everyone to be themselves, happy and free. All right. We also have with us today, dear friends, Ate Doris. Ate Doris is a writing editor for the Philippine Daily Inquirer, a leading multimedia organization in the Philippines. She has been a business journalist for over 2 decades and has received 22 guys, journalism awards. She was named as a young global leader by the World Economic Forum and an Asia 21 Young Leader by Asia Society. She was also honored as one of the outstanding young men in the Philippines. Hello. Hi.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This pandemic, we've been locked down for over a year. This pandemic has shown us how interconnected the world has become. And in this day and age of internet and social media, even when we're locked down, there's no excuse for us not to care about what's happening around us. So I hope that everyone here are the girls who are watching. We all read the newspapers. I developed the habit of regularly reading news when I was in high school, and I hope you do too. And when you read the news, make sure you get it from credible sources, because when you're aware, you can't help but care. And if there's something that we really feel strongly about, we have all the tools to amplify our voice. So journalist Maria Ressa recently won a Nobel Prize, and it's a big win for journalism, for women, and for the Philippines. And of course, you don't need to wait to be older to champion a certain cause. You must have heard about Greta Thunberg, Swedish girl who has become an icon of the global movement for climate change. And our amazing MCs here and our conveners and my co-panelists are all doing it. We can be our own publisher using social media or any tools at our disposal. And even just offline, we can participate in any conversation that contributes to critical thinking and problem solving, and start looking for solutions right from our homes, and share your experience and draw inspiration from the world, and become an inspiration as well. And I hope that in the future I could write about some of the amazing things that we're all doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doris. Thank you for highlighting the importance of civic engagement, no? Especially starting at a young age for every girl out here. Um, Up next, and before I actually introduce our next speaker and our next panelist, I'd like to invite everybody to send your questions in to our panelists. Any questions that you want to ask to our panelists, especially from the statements that they said, or anything at all under the sun, that maybe our panelists can answer, and we will choose from your questions and we will flash it on the screen so that you can be featured on this live today. Our last panelist is actually, you've already met her, Ate Jen, who is the Congress co-director of Girl Make the First Move for Girls Congress 2.0. Ate Jen, I think everybody has already answered, no? Like for the specific pillars of Girls Congress on self-leadership, on breaking glass ceilings, self-love, body positivity, against violence and abuse, on civic engagement and global citizenship. Ate Jen, what are other things that might not be in the pillars that girls should also make the first move on?
Thank you so much, Shama. Yes, every year I try to attend the United Nations Council for the Status of Women meetings in New York. And this is where, you get all of these conversations about issues, from different parts of the world. And I think one thing is very clear over the past years. Yes, we are advancing when it comes to women's rights and girls' rights, but I think also as gender advocates and as women empowerment advocates, we also have to maybe have an assessment of ourselves and go back to accountability. We have to be accountable for our actions, and we have to also look around us because maybe there are missing voices. Maybe we haven't provided a space for someone else as well. I think it's very important to remember this because sometimes we get so excited about the things that we're doing, but then we sometimes we fail. We miss out on the people around us, and that their stories need to be heard too. So it's not just our stories, but the stories on the sidelines and those who may not have found their voice yet. So we have to amplify that voice and for them also to take the first steps. So yes, for me, it's accountability across the board, when it comes to the women's movement.
Thank you so much for that, Ate Jen. Maybe Alex, you can ask the first question to our speakers.
All right. Again, accountability, and being aware of the cycles we take a part in. So, for the first question, at the nines, I'm going to be asking your question. Can you tell us why you think girls need to practice self love?
Oh wow, yeah. So for most of our lives, we girls have been raised with so many other voices, right? Be a good girl, which means study hard, la la la, whatever our parents say. So I mean, our whole lives we're trained to do what your parents say, and then later on get married and maybe do what your husband says, or even in between that, do what your boss says. So I mean, it's always everybody else's voices, and along the way we do meet a lot of critics, a lot of harsh voices that tell us about what we can and cannot do. And Janice also alluded to this, right? So I think it's really important to practice, to make the first moves towards self love, because there is no possibility of us being healthy lovers and nurturers and caregivers if we don't give that to ourselves first. It's like a firefighter, right? You need to be able to save yourself before you put out a fire. Or in an airplane, they tell you, in case of an emergency, you put on the mask first for yourself. So it's important because we are the caregivers of our homes, our organizations, and in some cases, you're the caregiver of the country. You need to fill your own emotional tank first. Take care of yourself. Um, Love yourself in the best possible way, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, so that you are also able to give love to others and you're able to exercise healthy boundaries, which some of us will also talk about. So there's many things to say about this topic, but again, the only person and the first person who should be your ally is you.
Thank you so much, Ate Nines. Just a reminder to everybody, all the pillars of Girls Congress, we will be having panels on each of these. So follow Girls Congress throughout the months that we're going to be operating, at least 6 months. We will end on March for International Women's Day. And for every month, we are going to have a panel on self leadership, self love, breaking glass ceilings, etc. That will be previewed with our panelists today. Maybe I'll go next to Janice and ask Janice. You've mentioned why there's a need for self leadership. Maybe I ask you, how do we go about to make first moves in self leadership? You've mentioned meditation, weightlifting, maybe I don't know, yoga, if you're going to suggest that as well. What are some of your suggestions, tips for the girls who are watching us right now on how to make
Yeah.
first self
Yeah,
leadership?
look, I grew up heavily bullied as a high school kid, because I liked things that weren't um it wasn't useful for married life, let's put it that way. And so you learn to listen to those stories. And I had a mother who was very progressive, and she refused for me to grow up that way. And so because of that, she taught me to master myself, so that when someone criticizes me, there was no Facebook pa when I was growing up, ha, can you imagine? So I was taught that when someone criticizes me, I saw that as a gift, not as something that was I had to change within myself. It was more like, wow, you're spending time thinking about me. I must be so important in your life that you would set aside your time, because time is more important than money. You only get 24 hours in a day and you've given me 5 minutes. Thank you. So that it's a way of mastering yourself, and mastering so that when the haters and the naysayers come at you, you don't react. You respond. And you're so focused in your mission, whatever's thrown at you. I mean, you look at Maria Ressa when she's interviewed, right? And Lea Salonga, when you see them, or even I'm talking about Cory Aquino, Heidelin Diaz, when you see them with a mission, whatever's thrown at their face, they're like, I'm going to be focused on my mission. And that's why self mastery is so important. Inner work, meditation, mindfulness, a lot of reflection. The reason I do weightlifting is I'm trying to challenge my body. I'm trying to understand what is the limit of my body, so that when someone tells me I can't do that, I'll be like, how do you know? I can lift 60 pounds. Do you know what I mean, in my mind? So that's what I mean by self mastery.
I love that. I love that. It's wow, like that was a lot actually. You should, if you wrote a book after Janice, I would definitely would be one of the first people to buy. And shout out to your mom, for teaching you all this so you could share with us. Your mom must be one of the strongest women. So shout out to her. Right. So we're going to move right on to our next question, whom I believe Marielle will also have a really, really good answer. So, Marielle, why do girls need to make the first move in breaking glass ceilings?
Okay, wait. I think girls should also be unafraid to break glass ceilings because kailangan magsimula muna sa sarili mo. Kailangan maniwala ka muna sa sarili mo before you do it. Kasi if you will showcase yourself, like your skills and talents, you will be able to inspire others and empower girls to showcase themselves as well, and we might change the world, yung pananaw nila sa ating mga babae.
Thank you so much, Mariel. And thank you for speaking in Tagalog. No, I know that Sophie probably would understand, but what she's basically saying is that you really need to believe in yourself in order for you to also break glass ceilings. So thank you so much for that. Um, I think I'm gonna go next to maybe Sophie now because I just mentioned her. Sophie, um, when you were younger, what would be your advice to your younger self on what to make the first move on?
That's a great question. Thank you, Shama. I think similar actually, Janice, to what you were saying. I think making the first move, I would have told myself to not feel helpless when I faced harassment or gender based violence, and instead to see it as fuel for actually taking action and doing something positive in response to raise awareness and speak back against that behavior. So I would tell myself to try to shift the thinking around these forms of gender based violence in order to create community and make moves going forward.
Thank you so much for that, Sophie. I'm going to jump right into the next question for Ate Jonah. Ate, when it comes to positive body image and health and wellness, why do girls have to make the first move?
Yeah, I thank you, Alex. No, siguro we have to look first that sometimes when we talk about positive body image, it's always this internal aspect of it. Parang it's always individualistic. So I think making the first move should also be collective. I mean, we get energy from our peers and we go to communities so that understands us and understands our needs towards our bodies and looks at it as something that um, is a community, no? So I think that's the importance of making the first move is to look for a community that understands you and understands your needs. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Jonah. Find your tribe. That's always something that's very important. Look for a community, look for your allies. Second to the last, before we go to the audience for your questions, please feel free to put your questions on the comment section so we can feature it over here. To Miss Doris, Miss Doris, my question for you is this. You mentioned a while ago that one of the first moves that you can make to do civic engagement is read the news. What are some of the suggestions that you can make for girls to fact check and know which credible news? Um, I don't know what kind of news is actually credible for them to read.
So in this day and age, now we get all the noises. Now sometimes we don't know what's right, what's what's fake news. So we've seen, for instance, how elections here in the Philippines and even in the US being influenced by a lot of fake news. So we really have to fact check what the news we consume, and we have all the tools to do that. We know which institutions are really legitimate organizations. We shouldn't believe everything we read on our Facebook feeds or on Twitter, and really go down to the source of the news. Is it a legitimate organization, or is it a website, a suspicious looking website? And very importantly, we shouldn't share anything which we haven't fact checked ourselves. It's very important because it could influence a lot of people in our network.
Thank you so much, Ate Doris. I love what you said about how we should fact check because it's not only for us, but also for the people on our network, on our social media network, especially in the pandemic where we're all just inside and on our phones. So Ate Jen has been doing, a lot of work towards gender equality and women empowerment. She's traveled a lot and seen an up close look at, the projects of other women as well. So Ate Jen, if I may ask, what are other girls doing in other countries, or maybe a project you've seen that's particularly, inspired you?
Oh, so that's such a great question, and so many answers to that question. I there were girls who created this these conversations between Israeli and Palestinian youth. And this was done in Vienna. There was also a group of young girls who in India, especially because of their experience after this, there was this devastating tsunami that happened some years ago, and because of that, the girls don't want this to happen again. So they had swimming for the future, the swimming for girls, and that was wonderful as well. Here in the Philippines, there are young girls who are getting together. My daughter actually was part of this campaign as too. Instead of having a birthday party, she sponsored the first menstrual kits, this period kits. So for girls who are about to have their first period, so that it's not, so that it's an empowering, as it should be. It should be an empowering process instead of something that you'd be ashamed of. So my daughter was giving, these menstrual kits. She's not the first one because she just followed with the artists that did it before. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's also a group of young girls who are informing other girls about science, about society, about science. Citizen science is very important. I'm sure Janice would say the same. So, to take care about the environment, to take action about these, sustainability, sustainable development goals as well, is a way to connect. In the same way that Janice was, and Sophie were joining us, from other places, and here as well, we are joined from other regions too. I think it's important to connect these stories and to connect these actions. Share the knowledge. Share all of these best practices. Create together all these great projects. Young girls, you have unlimited potential. It's incredible. And what you can come up with, and especially if you bond together, it's powerful. Really, there's a lot of power, and there's a lot of hope there too.
Thank you so much, Ate Jen. And thank you as well to the rest of our panelists for this discussion. I wish it could have been, longer, but there will be more sessions, as Ate Shama mentioned. So to our viewers, keep up on the Girls Congress social media. You can definitely look forward to more conversations like this, on self-love, self-empowerment, civic engagement, body positivity. We have real quick, sorry, we have a question here from Swarley Stinson. Atashama, would you like to read the question?
Sure, thank you for that, Alex. Hi, is Girls Congress an organization? If so, is there a way we can join or volunteer? Maybe at the Jen or at the Nines can answer this.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the question, Swarley, and for tuning in. So, Girls Congress is a nonprofit project. It's not yet a formal organization, but we do invite volunteers, especially for the next legs of the Congress. So, Girls Congress 2.0 will be running from October till March. We are opening volunteers for the succeeding panels and workshops, and we will be inviting mentors as well. So please do get in touch with us at girlscongressph@gmail.com, or message us on the Facebook page, and we'll surely get in touch with you. So thank you.
There we go. We have another question from Carissa de Luzuriaga Balaria. Right. What can you say about those women who do not support their fellow women? If
I
anyone
think
from the panel would like to.
in the interest of that, and in the interest of time, let's just make this popcorn. If anybody wants to answer the question, you can go
Shama?
ahead and unmute
Yeah.
yourself.
Can I answer the question?
Go
Yeah.
ahead, Ms. Rose.
To me, it's simple. This is not a competition. This is not a beauty contest. Although I know we grew up as a culture thinking that it's all about sining manalo. This is not a zero sum game. One woman that wins, we all win, and so we need to see it from that point of view. And also, again, going back to my point, right, about self love earlier from Nine, self mastery. If you get your validation from yourself and not from other people, you're not gonna look at your competitor, and so that's really what I would like girls to remember. And just one thing to add, I think people, when I talk about not having this married characteristic. I just like to I am married. So it is possible to love yourself, have that self-worth, and attract that person that you want to attract. Everything, diba? Self-love, mastery of self, lahat siya. Thanks.
Thank you, Janice. Very sharp na, very to the point. Thank you so much. That was very, very helpful. Anybody else would like to answer? Maybe the last person. Any last person would like to answer the question? Maybe from Marielle, Jonah, Sophie, Doris.
Yeah, maybe I can, no, because when women doesn't support women, it's mostly on towards the standards and preferences that we have with others, no, with other women. So I think the first kind of step is really looking, as Janice said, Janice said, not looking at them as competitors, but as a collective again, no, that we are a community. And I think that seeing that others' flaws are actually features. Ito nabanggit to ni Ayin from Miss Universe, no, na, well, quoting that pageant, but as well, it's empowering women and being there with the other women. So I think that's how it should be.
Yeah. May I speak?
Go ahead, Miss Doris.
Hi. Yeah. Yeah, I think that there will always be detractors along the way, whether it's from fellow women or even men or wherever. What's important is for us to keep going. We really have to sustain our initiative, because even when there are detractors all over, we will always find our tribe, as we all say. And once our work gets traction, you'll be surprised at the support that you'll find from similarly minded people. So it doesn't matter whether you have detractors all over, because I'm sure that you'll find more supporters than detractors.
Thank you so much, Miss Doris. That's very powerful, no? Like, put yourself out there, make the first move, and when people see you making the first move, then they will just get attracted to you and will start supporting you and helping you. And that's very powerful and that's very beautiful. Thank you so much, Miss Doris. And I think that's a really good um concept and a really good thought to end on. Alex?
So thank you again to our panelists and to those who sent in their questions. May I just remind our viewers to stay with us, and after this you will be joining the session on Zoom. Also, if you're looking forward to more conversations like this, asking these panelists more questions, or more women like them more questions, stay tuned on the Girls Congress Facebook Live for future announcements. So to close, help me welcome the Honorable Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States of America, for the closing remarks.
Mr. Secretary General, Mr. Chairperson of the Commission, Madam Executive Director, distinguished ministers, excellencies, civil society members, it is an honor to address this esteemed commission. Since 1947, this commission has documented the realities women face, shaped global standards on women's rights, and stood for gender equality. That work is as urgent now as it was at the start. On behalf of the United States, thank you. This year, in considering the status of women, especially as it pertains to the participation of women in decision-making, we must also consider the status of democracy. At its best, democracy protects human rights, promotes human dignity, and upholds the rule of law. It is a means to establish peace and shared prosperity. It should ensure every citizen, regardless of gender, has an equal voice, and free and fair elections that will respect the will of the people. At the same time, democracy requires constant vigilance, constant improvement. It is a work in progress. And today we know that democracy is increasingly under great strain. For 15 consecutive years, we have seen a troubling decline in freedom around the globe. In fact, experts believe that this past year was the worst on record for the global deterioration of democracy and freedom. So even as we confront a global health crisis, an economic crisis, it is critical that we continue to defend democracy. To that end, the United States is strengthening our engagement with the United Nations and the broader multilateral system. We are also rejoining the Human Rights Council because we know the status of democracy depends on our collective commitment to those values articulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The status of democracy also depends fundamentally on the empowerment of women, not only because the exclusion of women in decision-making is a marker of a flawed democracy, but because the participation of women strengthens democracy. And that's true everywhere. Looking around the world, I am inspired by the progress that is being made. And I am proud to report that while the United States still has work to do, we too are making progress, and that women strengthen our democracy every day. In every presidential election for the last 56 years in the United States, more women have voted than men. More women than ever before serve in the United States Congress. More women than ever are their family's breadwinner. And just last week, the president nominated 2 women to take the helm of 2 of our 11 combatant commands. Women in the United States lead our local, state, and national governments, make major decisions regarding our nation's security, and drive major growth in our economy. These are signs of progress. These are signs of strength. But friends, we cannot take this progress for granted, especially now. COVID-19 has threatened the economic security, the physical security, and the health of women everywhere. As women struggle to get the health care they need, the pandemic appears to be reversing the global gains we've made in the fight against HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, malnutrition, and maternal and child mortality. That's why, on the first day of our administration, the United States re-engaged as a member state and leader in the World Health Organization. And we are revitalizing our partnership with UN Women to help empower women worldwide. Here's the truth. When women face obstacles to obtaining quality health care, when women face food insecurity, when women are more likely to live in poverty and therefore disproportionately impacted by climate change, more vulnerable to gender-based violence and therefore disproportionately impacted by conflict, well, it's harder for women to fully participate in decision-making, which of course in turn makes it that much harder for democracies to thrive. Eleanor Roosevelt, who shaped the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, once said, "Without equality, there can be no democracy." In other words, the status of women is the status of democracy. For our part, the United States will work to improve both. We are committed to upholding the democratic values embedded in the Declaration, and we firmly believe that when we work together globally, we can achieve the vision within it. We look forward to partnering with all of you in the days and years ahead, and thank you.
Thank you so much. This was the remarks of Vice President Kamala Harris at the UN at the 65th session of the UN Women's Commission on the Status of Women. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Before we end, actually, huling pahabol, I think the Philippine Commission on Women's Chair, Sandy Moreno, is here now. Chair Sandy. Chair Sandy Montaño. Chair Sandy, hello po.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Good
morning po, Chair.
morning. Okay, to each and every one of us, thank you so much. Okay, pasensya na kayo kanina. There's a lot of technical difficulties. Before anything else, I would like to thank our partners for organizing Girls Congress 2.0. Girls make the first move. Why not? Diba? To Dr. Jenny Almaco, Nina Tirol, and our live moderate.
Well, it looks like Chair Sandy has been encountering a lot of technical difficulties, which of course, is normal in today's online setup, we cannot avoid those.
Yeah,
So
it's really the reality of being on a virtual setting right now, especially during the pandemic. But thank you so much, Chair Sandy, for your time. Thank you so much for coming in here. Maybe we'll just record Chair Sandy and publish it on the Girls Congress Facebook page as well. Before we end this, I'd like to remind everybody to please engage with us on Facebook. You can follow us on Girls Congress, on our Facebook page on Girls Congress, and use the official hashtags down in the crawlers up here. Please save the date for our next panel on self leadership and upward mobility, which is on October 23, Saturday, 3 p.m. on the Girls Congress page. Just a reminder to everybody, save the date, October 23, Saturday, 3 p.m. Philippine time if you're coming in from another country. So once again, thank you so much, everybody. We're very thankful for all of those who are watching. Thank you to our panelists who are so amazing. And of course, to our partners. Alex.
my apologies. I was all right. So again, thank you everyone. Will we be trying one last time for Chair Sandy? Or
I think Chair Sandy really has a lot of technical problems. Baka maulan ngayon. So
all right.
we're really just
Sige.
going to
So we will
record
be
it.
pushing through the recording. All right. I'm sorry for glitching really quick there. Um, so to our participants, do not forget to move to the Zoom room immediately after the live stream. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, from Ate Shama and I and everyone behind Girls Congress 2.0. Happy.
Let's have a quick run through of our partners, Alex.
All right. Quick run through of our partners. My
Let's start
apologies.
with the United States Embassy in the Philippines.
The Global Empowerment Movement, Girl Make the First Move.
Wesleyan University, Philippines.
Together with our community partners, the Department of Education.
The Philippine Commission on Women.
Belle de Jour Power Planner.
Quarantalk Media.
Our media partner, Business World.
Business and Professional Women International.
Philippine Federation of Local Councils of Women. Thank you so much to our partners once again.
And thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy International Day of
the
the
Girl.
Girl.